Okay, we are going to work on a little more buttonhole stitching today on our campers. I already did this inside and I did the inside of this window, so I can't show you that. But I think I can show you how I would do this big section here. I'm going to start right here because if I start here and go around, I can go a big long way without having to stop and tie threads a lot. I'm going to show you my machine setup again so that we can remember. You need to have your open throat plate on because you will be doing stitching that has the needle going down and over. So we don't want the single hole throat plate. I also have an open-toed foot on, and I have a needle that's big enough to handle this. This is 30 weight thread, so my needle is a 90-14, I believe. My machine is set up on what I have for a blanket stitch. It's the 1329, and here's a picture of the stitch, how it works. This is the double blanket stitch or double buttonhole stitch, but I am using the single right there. For my stitch, I have the stitch width set at 2.5. The stitch length is 2.5. My needle position is so it stops down in the fabric, and that's for when you turn corners and things, your needle will be down in. I set my tension at 2.5 because I don't want my bobbin thread to pop up and show. And finally, I have my needle set in the far right position. It's called number 5. It's the farthest place I can get on the right side of the machine. Okay, so let's get this set up, and hopefully you'll have a good view of what I'm doing, and hopefully I can do this. Well, maybe I'm gonna move my camera over here so that I don't know where's the best place so that you can see and won't be knocking it into myself. Okay, I'm going to start way down here, and I'm going to put the needle or the foot down so that it is right. Maybe if I did move this over, you can see right a little bit better. See how there's a little bit of space there, so that my needle is going to be going right down to the very edge of this yellow part. And I'm just going to set the needle down once and back up. But if you notice, the needle moved over to the right-hand side. That's not where I really want to start. So I'm going to pull this thread up and I'm getting the bobbin thread pulled up. All right, and then I am going to go down, get the thread down, go down to the place where I started, and I'm going to move my needle back over to the edge of the fabric. So we're ready to go. We're going to go down into the fabric, and then we're going to take a bite out of the yellow. Down, in, over, down, over. It takes one stitch towards me, and then it goes into the yellow. I am trying to make sure that the stitches that go in are going perpendicular to the stitches that go across. Right there, I need to turn. See, my fabric is going to turn. So I'm going to pick the foot up, and I am going to turn all the way this way so that my side of my foot is right next to the yellow fabric, and then I'm going to just stitch on. There's a lot of lifting the foot and turning. Whenever you feel like your stitch is not straight across, it's going to be slanted, then you need to pick up and turn. And the way that you can sort of keep track of your straightness of your stitch is to look at the very back of the foot. The back of the foot here is sort of a guide. If you watch that, your stitch will go right parallel to that, which makes it a nice straight coming in stitch. And when you stop and turn, when you go around corners, you can see how if you're doing something very small or a tight curve, then you may have to go quite slowly. When you're doing a straight line, you can speed up and go much faster. The thing I like about the stitch though is once you get it going, then you can watch TV, listen to music. Here I'm kind of close, and so here I do something, it depends on how big the spot is, but this is not quite to the end. So what I sometimes do when I'm in that situation is I turn down the stitch length because I don't want to go very far. I just want to go a little ways. There. And now I always turn it right back up to 2.5, I think is where I had it, so I don't forget it. But now, it went right into the corner and it'll carry on. When I get to the end of this, I will tie these off. Okay, I've gone all the way around the outside of the yellow. Come over here and went around. So these are where I started, and this is where I finished. So it's time to take care of those threads. I got my easy threader needle, which is not picking up very well. Okay, there's my easy threader needle here, right there. And I am going to, for the two threads where I started, I'm just going to put them together, pull the threads through the top of the easy threader needle like that, and then I'm going to thread them back down into the hole where I began and bring them to the back so that I can tie them in a knot. For the other, this is the ending thread, I can do the same thing with it, or oftentimes I will just go to the back and pull the bobbin thread, and that brings the top thread through. Okay, so then when they're to the back, all I have to do is tie a simple knot and cut the threads. And the same thing for this. So this part of the stitching will be done. I still will have to do a little bit more. Oh, what happened? Your apple. Let's stop here.